And we're back. All right, time to talk about Oscars again. We've got kind of a busier schedule coming up here. Nominations are a little under a month away now. March 18th is the date for that. We've got the Globes coming up this Sunday, the 28th. Let's see, then the Critics' Choice will hand out their awards on the, I can't remember if it's the 7th or the 14th, something like that. Let's see, BAFTA nominations will be out not too long. Here, I always forget the date here. I'm going to look at it one more time just to make myself look even more unprepared here. Yeah, that's right. March 9th is when those come out. So I think I've got everything in the right order here. So it'd be like Globes Awards first, then we'll go to Critics' Choice, then BAFTA announces nominees. PGA, DGA are like right not too long after that, or same date or something. You know, they're really close there. Nominations for Oscars the next week. The guilds will kind of fill in as they go. After that, we've got SAG Awards on the 4th, if I'm remembering right, of April, that's Sunday. BAFTA on the 11th, and then the Oscars on the 18th. It's something relatively like that. Or close to it. Or, wait, maybe maybe the Oscars are the 15th. I can't remember. I thought it was 18th, but no, it is 15th, yeah. Okay, sorry. I had the dates inverted there. I wrote it down as the 15th for when the nominations come out, because that's a Thursday, and usually it is on a Thursday, but they're on a Monday this year, the 15th. They've done Mondays before. I just couldn't remember. Okay, so now that we've got all that confused, let's go ahead and go into the nominations that I have here. Some updated ones from last time. I've also got the nomination count down here as well. Not countdown, but count is, I have it written down as in that. Yeah, I've already confused enough. Let's move into what I've got here. All right. So, I kind of alluded to this last time. I've had One Night in Miami out front all the way up until a couple of days ago. And my change is a movie that I remember when we first talked about it as a possible Oscar nominee, and of course, almost everybody I think had this one in early. Trial of the Chicago 7. Yeah, I think it's out front now. I think really it's not disappointed anywhere. I don't expect it to disappoint at BAFTA. It'll probably get in at both PGA and DGA. It doesn't necessarily have to win any of those. Either of those two to win. I mean, we've seen, Moonlight lost both, and that still won Best Picture. Yeah, there's definitely some possibilities here, though, for what else can win. I think One Night in Miami I bumped all the way down to 4th place, by the way. So Minari I have moved up to 2nd place. I think this one, again, after I've seen it and everything, this one almost feels like the Moonlight, the spoiler here. The way Parasite kind of became a spoiler there at the end of the awards run last year. It was one where it's like, man, I would love to see it happen because it was my favorite of the year, and Minari is still my favorite of the year, but it's like I can see it, but and it wasn't until after BAFTA that I finally got the balls to predict it. After 1917 won big at BAFTA, I'm like, okay, they've been wrong so many times. I've been wrong the last few years. It's like, let's finally get this right, hopefully, for as far as predictions go. And I lucked out on that one. It was Parasite. But anyways, so Minari I think is a strong 2nd place though. I have it down for 7 nominations. That could easily be 8. The only slot I think that I don't have it in that could easily get in is director. So obviously Green Book is a pretty present example of that. And kind of, it could almost be that way, because, everybody thinks Nomadland's going to win director, me included as well. And that one, I've gotten 3rd place, by the way. It does feel like the Roma. It does feel like it's a more directorial achievement than a huge narrative accomplishment. I've seen Nomadland too, so I'll be able to review that one here in just a quick second. And then... you've got Minari, which is more of a heart-tugging, movie, more emotional, obviously somewhat about race relations. Green Book was definitely, that was, almost the number one thing in the movie, aside from maybe, the comedy feel of it or whatever, but it's the one thing you take away from that is also race relations, though. Minari, it has some of it. It's not as in-your-face about it, which I definitely appreciated. But so it's there's a lot of angles where I can see that one, losing director, maybe not even getting nominated in that category, but still coming through and winning picture. It has to win its screenplay prize. It might pull along supporting actress, possibly. Yoo Jun-yeon, I think, is almost primed to, after the Globes, kind of become the front runner, potentially, if she wins SAG and wins at Golden, or sorry, not Golden Globe, she's not nominated there, but Critics' Choice. And then she might go on to win BAFTA too, possibly. They can go a couple different ways at BAFTA there. We'll talk about the supporting actress race as well there. But Nomadland, I think it's a comfortable third though. I don't think it's like a super distant third place here. And just speaking really quick about that one, this is one I watched it, and it's like as I was watching it, I was kind of half bored, and I understood a lot of the criticism some people have levied against it, because it's like, yeah, even Roma at a certain point in the movie, it's like, it's very much like Roma. It is episodic, where it's like, okay, this happens, and it's not really a connected plot. What happens here in this scene does not necessarily lead to what happens in this scene. Roma eventually gets on that track. Eventually, when you get into kind of the later parts of the second act and the third act, it's like, okay, stuff from the first act is coming back. Certain characters, and stuff like that. Certain things that were kind of introduced earlier, now we have something that's continuing or being resoluted at the end there. Nomadland really does, consistently through the movie, really doesn't have that. It kind of just goes and goes and goes, and stuff happens, and it kind of ends. And that's probably like my only legit like complaint about it. Otherwise, I mean, performance-wise, Frances McDormand is always great, but this one, yeah, this is a really solid performance. If she hadn't won for either Fargo or for Three Billboards, if she was like 0 for 6 or whatever or 0 for 5 going into this race, I think she'd be a slam dunk, but that's obviously not the case. I have her clear down in 4th for Best Actress, which is weird because it's still such a strong performance. But yeah, it's just kind of the year we have between her, Carey Mulligan, Viola Davis, and Vanessa Kirby. It's like, wow. Anyway, so that's that one for her performance there. Chloe Zhao, I mean, again, is kind of like a few years ago I said Foxcatcher, the star of that movie, even though you had Steve Carell and Ruffalo and Channing Tatum and everybody in there. The star of the movie I thought of that was Bennett Miller, just because it was so atmospherically cold. It's like so stylized in that way, and it's like Chloe Zhao, I think really it's a very similar case here, where I think she is really, other than Frances, really the star of the movie, where the kind of lived-in environment you get here is really, really well done. But another thing I really was appreciating, especially while I was watching it too, though, all the real nomads that they have in the movie that portray themselves all do really great. I mean, legitimately, they're so lived in, that world. It's like, it feels like a great like thespian character actor that we've never heard of, or we can imagine them. They've popped up in these movies. I haven't seen those, but you might remember the name or something. It feels like that. There's especially, I mean, not to spoil anything, but there's one character at the end. One other complaint I might get to here is with the ending, though. There's one character who gives this kind of monologue about his son, and it's like, it's heartbreaking, and it's really emotional, and it's really, again, it's like, it almost feels like you couldn't have scripted this. Obviously it's based on a book, but yeah, it's like, it's so wonderful moment there, and it's like, again, it's like, even trained actors, it's like, it gets to that point where it's like, okay, could a trained actor have done this any better? Somebody who's been through a dozen blockbusters and supporting roles, or is that great thespian kind of character actor, and it's like, it's spectacular. Yeah. Anyway, so that's all good. The only thing, yeah, the ending, it's like the movie kind of has a problem in my mind too, that where it has those multiple endings problems, where it's like, okay, there's, like I said, there's that one monologue that guy gives when he's talking to Frances. It's a good summation about why all these people do this, why they live in this corner of the world here, this time of year, seasonally, move around all the time, and all that stuff. And I'm like, this is I'm like, if they had just maybe not cut to black, but like, faded out from that, I probably would have applauded this as a really, obviously one of the best endings of the year. But then it's like, okay, then there's another scene, and then there's another scene, and then there's still some stuff, and then it finally ends, and it's like, I get, understand why they kept going to more stuff, because it's like, okay, this could be a suitable ending, because it's, they go to this certain location, which we've heard about, we haven't seen it, but it's relevant. Okay, then they do that again, and it's like, okay, I can see where it ends here, and it's the very, very ending. I thought, I don't know, I could have done without, because it's literally just a couple like following shots of just her still driving the van around. It's like, yeah, okay. Otherwise, though, yeah, I mean, everything else in the movie worked. David Strathairn, really good supporting character, really solid performance there. I enjoyed seeing him. Yeah, I think overall, it's like, again, it's like while you're watching it, I was, in some places a little bored. Obviously, one thing I have to mention, the cinematography, really good job. I mean, obviously a lot of nature shots and stuff, so it's going to be, going to be pretty to look at and stuff. But, yeah, that I thought was really good too. And it is kind of a scars and all, warts and all, type tale where it's like they go into a lot of stuff about the nomads. It's like, it's not just a puff piece about it. It's like they talk about, okay, what happens if, you're stuck in this location and there's no indoor plumbing, What happens if, and I won't spoil it, but one certain character, they kind of bring up, okay, and I had kind of assumed it. I'm glad that they discussed it in the movie, kind of later, but it's like, what happens if you've got a family at home and you're off doing this by yourself? It's like, whether you're separated from your significant other, or you've got brothers and sisters, or children at home, how does that work? How does that relationship work? How do these people, get along and stuff? When this person, you might see them maybe not even every year. It's like, at Christmas or whatever. It's like you might see them once every couple of years or once every 5 years or so. It's like, how do you form a familial bond there? And it's like, they're not really afraid to tackle stuff like that. And I'm like, I was really, really appreciative of that. And it's also, I think, another big positive is it's not the length of Roma either. Roma was like 2.25 hours. And it's like, at times it did feel, especially in the second act, like it was really meandering. Like, okay, they're kind of like I got nothing, I got no big speeches, or just film them walking. It's like, it kind of felt like that at times with Roma. But here it's like at 90, or it's not quite 90, it's like a little bit longer. It's like 102 minutes without credits or something, or close to that. At that length, it did not overstay its welcome. I think generally speaking, even though, again, there's no strong engine, pulling the train there plot-wise and stuff, it still, I think, generally was in that good range there for runtime and stuff. So, so overall, it is a 10 out of 10 for me. I think I would probably, because the more I've thought about it, I think the more I go back to the really, really stuff that stands out, like that end speech and Zhao's direction, and edited well, too. The cinematography, the performances and everything, and it's like, all that stuff sticks out more so than the kind of some slower spots. So I think that one, I like it better than Soul, not quite as good as Minari. It's like right in there. Those three are my top three of the year. So yeah, I think the only other two that I have getting in for Best Picture that I've yet to see are The Father and One Night in Miami. So I'm getting them knocked off the list there as I go. Anyway, so that's that one. So yeah, I already mentioned fourth place is One Night in Miami. And again, I think, we'd have to talk about, because we mentioned this before, the Golden Globes, the fact that it wasn't one of the picture nominees, and it might miss for film at the BAFTAs there. I can see it missing the 5. Then, it's really tough to still win Best Picture, because, we kind of talked about it. Crash did not get a picture nomination there for picture drama at the Globes. The Sting for the comedy musical category, clear back in the 70s, didn't do it, but still won Best Picture. And both those films, by the way, were recognized in one way or another by the Globes. They had other nominations there, like Crash got at least supporting actor in screenplay, I saw. The Sting only got screenplay, but that was better than getting skunked. And then obviously you can the only other two examples are Parasite and Chariots of Fire, where they were only eligible for the picture category in that foreign language category, which, Minari is also in that boat this year. So, so that all being said, I think, again, it would have to be like a really... Regina almost certainly has to get in for director, I think, for this to win picture. Because I think it'll have some support from the crafts. It'll get in for song. It could get in for... editing is possible, but I wouldn't list it as the one of the 5 that gets in. Otherwise, yeah, it doesn't really seem like it's going to have much staying power in like the design categories, or it's in there for makeup, but it seems like it's not really a makeup heavy film. It's not a prosthetics heavy type film, so I don't really see it getting there. The cinematography and all that stuff, it's like, I don't know, it's like it's not really forward of mind, I think, for a lot of voters there. So, yeah, unless it really surprises us Oscar morning and gets into a lot of those tech categories, it's really, I think, gonna need to rely on a lot of number one votes when they go into the preferential ballot type voting system there. Anyway, so that's that one. Mank is in 5th place for me. Then clear down there. 6th place is Ma Rainey's. 7th place, The Father. 8th is Promising Young Woman. 9th is Da 5 Bloods. And 10th is News of the World. So we could... I've been kind of thinking about it. Like, okay, are we going to see how many Best Picture nominees this year? Because, again, I think I've been getting this wrong. I always say 10% of the popular vote. I think it's 5% of the popular vote. I want to try maybe correct that. The last couple of years I've been saying 10%, but I think you have to get 5% of the popular vote to be a Best Picture nominee. So the only way to do that, like literally half the ballots for the number one votes have to be 10 films, and it's like with however many thousand people voting, it's like it's almost impossible for that to happen. So we've seen 9 nominees last year, 8 nominees in years previous. So I don't know. I think we might be due for another because 2018 was an 8-year category. 17, oh boy, that was a 9. Yeah, 9 year. 2016 was a 9 year. 15 and 14 were both 8 years, or 8 film years. And then 2013, I believe, was a 9 years category, or 9. You get what I mean. 9 films got in for the category. And I'm thinking about it. Okay, so if it's 8, so that's where those kind of rankings come in there. If it's 8, I think it ends with either News of the World or Promising Young Woman. And then Da 5 Bloods and one of those two misses. Because I think The Father, is going to be solid enough. I expect it to get a good number of nominations from BAFTA. Should be on the PGA list. Florian Zeller is almost guaranteed to get in at least DGA's first-time director slot. Regina King will also fight for that. And I believe Emerald Fennell is, eligible. Possibly. Was it her or was it somebody else? It was her or... okay, I was going to say Lee Isaac Chung, but no, he's directed stuff before, other features. But Emerald Fennell, I believe, because I looked these up the other day, and yeah, we'll talk about director here as well, but I believe her only other film before this was like a documentary. So I don't know if that technically counts or not. Let me see here. That's acting. Let me see. Say anything about directing. Okay, was it this one, or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else had that documentary. I thought it was her, but okay, no, she did a short film before this that she directed. But okay, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else then. Who did the documentary then? It was somebody who would be possibly up for that first-time director prize. Oh, wait a minute. Was it, God, I can't remember who it was now. Okay, anyways, we'll discuss that with DGA when that comes up. But, yeah, that one, The Father, I think, is solidly in, though, for that 7th slot. So, and they could cut it off at 7. I think earlier on in the years I was kind of saying one of these years it's just going to be 7, but it's never been that. So I don't know why they would start now. It's like this one and possibly next year is the last time they're going to do this kind of rotating number of nominees. I believe it's starting next year. They're going to do just 10, solid 10, which I'm not a fan of. But anyways, so. I can see Promising Young Woman kind of... I mean, obviously, one comparison I've been kind of hesitant to make is Nocturnal Animals, because that one, it did miss picture at both BAFTA and the Globes, but it got in for, like, director and screenplay at both. It got a bunch of acting nominations between the two of them and stuff. So, it could be one of those where, it does really well at some ceremonies and then just gets totally almost skunked at other ones. And it's like, well, really... Carey Mulligan only getting in at SAG, it's like, well, it was kind of a last-minute addition for me for ensemble, so the fact that it didn't get in, it's like, I threw it in last minute, Otherwise, I expect it, again, to do pretty well at BAFTA, and it seems like it'll be a PGA, DGA nominee one way or another. depending there. I should, yeah, if I looked her up, yeah, she should be in for first time director there. Unless there's a whole bunch of other ones that I'm forgetting right now. But let me see here. Who else? Because yeah, I know Aaron Sorkin's directed before. Regina King would be another definite one that almost certainly will get in there. Florian Zeller, and then gosh, I was looking at the guy who made Sound of Metal. Was he the one that did the documentary before? Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, maybe it was the director whose name I don't know of. Sound of Metal was the one I was kind of questioning. Because it's like, okay, documentary, does that count as feature film? Yeah, I'm not sure how those rules go at DGA, so I'm not sure if that director would qualify or not. But maybe that's the one I was thinking of. So it's the other three that are almost locks to get in for that first time director bid at DGA. So, yeah, the whole point though, we're trying to discuss. Okay, is it 8, 9? Which of these misses and stuff? And it's like, I don't know. I've been saying all year, To Five Bloods, it feels like a classic case where, if we were back to a field of 5 only for Best Picture, it would get in for Director but miss Picture. It feels like one of those. So it's like, I feel like that one's it's either 9th or 10th. It's kind of down there. News of the World, it did get, Critics' Choice for Picture nomination there, which, I thought maybe it might struggle there a little bit. It did pretty well at the crafts and got some acting prizes too. Nominations at least. So I don't know. It's going to be tough because I don't think it's going to be a solid 10. Again, I'm not confident at all in that. The Father missed on the AFI list, and then also for Critics' Choice. So part of that might be just because it's not one that's been actively seen in the screener crowd. SAG didn't put it in for ensemble or anything. Not that it was a huge expectation to get it in, but just Anthony and Olivia Coleman got in. So yeah, it'll be a question mark, I think, going into the Oscars. There, that's one I'm not fully down yet on which what way it'll go, but yeah, I might switch those last few spots around a little bit. We'll see. We've got some time to think about it. Okay, so for the director lineup, I've got the same ones here, and they're pretty much all in the same spots here. Chloe Zhao up front for Nomadland, then David Fincher for Mank, Aaron Sorkin for Trial of Chicago 7, Spike Lee for To Five Bloods, and Regina King for One Night in Miami. Again, I think there's a possibility Regina misses because she is kind of the actor turned director, and again, unless you're Jordan Peele or Greta Gerwig, the director's branch has been, ex-naying that in the last few years, with Bradley Cooper, Ben Affleck, and a few others missing there. Again, the one, it's like, I wish I could put him in because I think it would be, an easy one to miss. It's Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, but it's like, I don't know who to bump. It's like, Spike Lee, it's like, yeah, sure, he missed the Globes and stuff, but he got in for director, and the film got in at the Critics' Choice. He's not on the list for BAFTA, but it really depends, because it's like, I can even possibly see him missing DGA in favor of somebody like Lee Isaac Chung, and then that puts us in the situation there, because it's like, okay, there's a possibility, because Regina King is the only one of my 5 in right now who would be a first-time director. Spike Lee has done stuff before, Aaron Sorkin, yeah, the rest of them, they've all had at least a couple other films under their belt, or at least one with Aaron Sorkin's case. So it's like sometimes the DGA does that, where it's like, okay, an expected director, who's going to be up for the Oscars, they only put him in the first-time director prize. Now, that did not happen with, in 2017, Jordan Peele was nominated there for first-time director, and he won, and then he was also nominated for just outstanding direction. So he got 2 nominations there. So it's like they're not opposed to putting him in both slots, but I can see a scenario where it's Regina that misses at DGA in favor of somebody like Lee Isaac Chung, and they do put Spike Lee in there, or they miss Spike Lee and they miss Regina and put Emerald Fennell and Lee Isaac Chung both in. That's gonna be crazy. And maybe even Florian Zeller is one to not underestimate for getting in at DGA, just in the outstanding direction category. I don't know. It's like it's going to be, I think after those 8, it's kind of tough. Like I said, Paul Greengrass, I think at BAFTA will stand a better shot there, but otherwise I don't see him as a huge threat going forward. And I don't really see any other late breakers to surprise us, again, unless it's, we kind of mentioned it at BAFTA there, unless it's Thomas Vinterberg for another round, if all of a sudden that pulls a Cold War and gets in for director too. then okay, then maybe. But yeah, but that one I think, yeah, I don't know. The point is, the last couple of years I've been going with the DGA 5 getting in at the Oscars, and it hasn't happened. It's like I keep saying it's due to happen, but it doesn't. So yeah, one of them I'm gonna drop this year for sure, definitely. So yeah, the DGA I think is really really gonna solidify. Okay, who's really solid here? Because even up to a few weeks ago, I kept thinking, okay, Chloe Zhao and David Fincher are like our only two locks. It's like Regina could fall out. Aaron Sorkin, if the director's branch is really, really stingy, even though he's directed before, he's primarily known as a writer. So it's like sometimes they don't put you in for director if you're primarily known as a writer. So it's like I can see him all of a sudden missing Oscar morning and being that kind of Catherine Bigelow, Ben Affleck level snub. It could be maybe Spike Lee in that film. It's relatively speaking, Delroy Lindo aside, it has been kind of a disappointment in some of these categories here. It got in at SAG and at Critics' Choice for the top categories, but it's probably not going to do super well at BAFTA. Missed everywhere at Globes. I think it's probably in for PGA. It was on the AFI list, so it's like it's kind of a little scattered for that one. So I could see a scenario where Oscar Morning either comes back strong, like it did at SAG and Critics' Choice, or it peters out and it gets like just a couple things. Chadwick for supporting and like maybe a tech category or two. Like all of a sudden it just totally bottoms out and it's like, oh no. And Spike obviously I think then would miss for director, but I don't know. It feels, and part of me too. I mean, even though The Five Bloods, it's one I've liked a lot this year. It's not like up there, like in my top 5 or anything. But I don't know the fact. I mean, historically, he wasn't nominated for either Malcolm X or Do the Right Thing. Only got his first directing nomination here a couple of years ago with BlacKkKlansman. It's like I can see them just putting him in off of that as well. So it's gonna be tough to get this one down to 5. That's for sure. But again, minus that Thomas Vinterberger, one of those last-minute surprises there. I think it is down to an 8 directors race, and it is going to be kind of like last year. It's going to be tough to decipher, okay, who misses and who gets in. All right, we'll turn to the acting categories now. I've got, I took out Delroy again. We kind of alluded to this in the other video. It's Chadwick Boseman, Anthony Hopkins, Riz Ahmed, Steven Yeun, and Gary Oldman are my 5 now. And other than Delroy, it's like it really seems like it's down to those 6 again, unless we get a last-minute surprise like a Tahar Rahim coming back for Martanian, or Kingsley Ben-Adir in case One Night in Miami kind of overperforms Oscar Morning, or maybe Judas and the Black Messiah kind of makes a comeback there, and all of a sudden that one's one to watch out for, getting in for a couple things like lead actor, supporting actress, screenplay. I don't know if it can quite pull it for director, but possibly film, and getting in at WGA definitely helped it. But again, we've got several original screenplay competitors that were not eligible there, so that definitely was an easier crowd to get into in that way. But yeah. Otherwise, it's really just going to come down to, okay, which one of these guys, if any of them, miss, and it's like, I don't know. I don't really see. Riz Ahmed has gotten everything. He doesn't feel like a Jake Gyllenhaal who, all of a sudden misses at the end, or a Jennifer Lopez, for example, last year. Doesn't really feel that way. It feels like Sound of Metal is still kind of continuing there. Steven Yeun for Minari. Again, I can see him, if he happens to miss at BAFTA, I can still see him scoring that Oscar nomination, coming back from that still. Just in case he does miss there. But, yeah. I don't know. It's tough because Delroy is so damn good in that movie too, though. It's hard to see him missing, but yeah. Anyways, okay. Best Actress. I have just in the last couple hours here, I thought about this one. I'm like, just for now, I'm going to put Carey Mulligan in first place here to win. I have her winning at the Globes on Sunday. She'll probably win BAFTA. Because her film is not up for ensemble, I can see her still losing SAG, but then going on to win the Oscar. Or, like a lot of people have thrown out there now, it could be just a year where all of a sudden, boom, she just goes on a track and wins everything. Yeah, possibly. I don't know if we're going to see, because like last year and then 2 years before, or 3 years before rather now, 2017, that year, we just saw, the same 4 actors in each category just run the table. Everybody won everything. I don't think we're gonna get that this year. No, I don't think so. Um, yeah, definitely. The two lead acting performances I can see if Chadwick wins everything, okay, and if Carey wins everything, yeah, there you go. But supporting actor, I feel like when we get to that one, that could have a couple different winners. Supporting actress, I could almost see a different winner every ceremony, possibly. That could be weird. But again, we'll get to those in a minute here. But Carey out front. Then I think Vanessa Kirby is second place for me, but I'm starting to worry about that one a little bit. Because, like Jennifer Lopez last year, like Timothée Chalamet a couple years ago for Beautiful Boy, Pieces of a Woman, it seems everywhere, is only getting this one nomination. Other than Critics' Choice, it really has only gotten Vanessa Kirby in. Only one at Globes, only one at SAG. Yeah, and I think BAFTA is probably going to be close to that. It's possible, we could see Ellen Burstyn still get in at BAFTA and help her case, but I don't know. I mean, it could be one where all of a sudden, they could go somewhere else for that slot. But I don't know. It's my favorite of these performances, by the way. Now that I've seen all four of the ones that I think are sure bets, and it's really that fifth slot that's all sliding around there. Of the four presumed sure bets, and I would think at least three. Carey can't miss. Viola can't miss. Frances can't miss. Even though I said, a couple months ago, there, even a month ago, I was saying, I'm afraid Carey's going to be in that Jake Gyllenhaal Nightcrawler slot where it's like, gets in everywhere and misses, a very similar situation there. But, I don't know. I think if she starts winning everything, then it's tough for her to miss the Oscars. Yeah, that's not going to happen then. So, anyways, so it's like, okay, then Viola and Frances are my third and fourth place ones there. So it's that fifth place. I've kind of spoiled it in the other videos, but yeah, I'm pulling a weird one here. I haven't predicted her all year, and it's only in the last week I've changed this. But Sophia Loren for Life Ahead, I think. Really the only reason I'm going her here, it feels like a year again where the actress slot is going to have a foreign language based performance. The way we had Isabelle Huppert for Elle 4 years ago now. Marion Cotillard, who I think is she's been the apt comparison for me because she missed everywhere that year and then got in at the Oscars. Is a previous Oscar winner, like Sophia Loren is. So it's like that one I can see just enough actors watching the movie and putting it in there for that performance. And then, you can go back to Emmanuel Riva for Amour, and there's some other ones there for sure. But we have seen, Marion Cotillard did have, Rust and Bone, and that one got a couple nominations, but then didn't quite make it to the Oscars. None of the actors from Parasite last year got in for, foreign-based, foreign language performances. Antonio Banderas did get in last year, but again, he, other than BAFTA and SAG, he made it in everywhere. So, so it's it's a question mark, because United States versus Billie Holiday, I think Andra Day, is still in the fight, definitely. The movie, like Malcolm and Marie and Hillbilly Elegy, two other performances that definitely are still in the hunt as well. It's like those movies are either mixed or negative reception from critics, and I think there's a lot of fans that have appreciated Hillbilly Elegy. I'm definitely somebody who appreciated Malcolm and Marie more than the uppity critics that I've already tossed under the bus so many times. Well, not so many times, but when I reviewed the film, I just fucking threw them under the bus. I'm like, fuck you assholes. Oh, so elitist bullshit. Anyways, but Andra Day, it's like, it could be kind of a rallying call for the movie too. We'll have to see what the reaction is, because I think Billie Holiday is still maybe not up there in all that, but it is Black History Month, and definitely she's a high point of Black soul culture, in many ways. Again, another argument against that I've been saying all year is you've got Viola Davis in a almost extremely similar role there in the same category, but it didn't hurt at the Golden Globes. It didn't hurt at Critics' Choice. They both got in there. So I don't know. I mean, I definitely see it's an argument. She's not going to be at BAFTA too. That's not going to help. We'll have to see, because we just went over this the other day and I can't remember. Because I don't know. I don't think, was Sophia on the long list for lead actress? I thought she was. Yeah, she's on there. Okay, I was like, she could all of a sudden score BAFTA and then get in. Emmanuel Riva, I believe, did the same thing that year for More. It's like she was missing, like didn't get into the Globes, wasn't a SAG nominee. She might have been in a Critics' Choice though. She might have gotten a Critics' Choice nomination now that I think about it. But yeah, BAFTA was like a strong thing. Then she even won BAFTA that year. So yeah, it's like sometimes those BAFTA foreign language performances save it. Not the case for Isabelle Huppert because her film was not eligible that same year. She got nominated at the Oscars. But yeah, we'll have to see. So yeah, I think of those three, Amy Adams, Zendaya, Andra Day, are all still in the hunt though for sure. Zendaya coming off of the Emmy win, and if enough people see and like Malcolm and Marie, I can see that one coming through. It's again like United States versus Billie Holiday. It's kind of a last entry there. It's kind of one of the last ones to come out, so it could be kind of fresh in their minds for the voters. Amy got SAG, and it's like SAG is a crucial one, for sure. And then one that possibly could pop up, and I've seen a few more people starting to put her in. That's Yeri Han for Minari, who is the wife in the movie. The question is, she got nominated at Indie Spirits in the supporting category though, and you're already going to have Yoo Jun-yeon in for supporting actress there for Minari. I feel like she's a very safe bet at this point, even though she did miss Globes. So it's like, I don't know. It's like there might be kind of that vote splitting going on as far as the categories go. It didn't hurt Rooney Mara or Alicia Vikander those years for 2015 for those two performances. They were both flopping back and forth between lead actress and supporting actress. They both got nominated for supporting. But it's like, I don't know. It could be kind of a question mark, especially because again, I think Minari, it could come in strong on Oscar morning and be like Critics' Choice, where it was like the second most nominated film or whatever. Possibly, but it's like, I don't necessarily see her going along for the ride. I don't see, because really, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit last year with Alan Alda for Marriage Story, kind of filling out, who's going to be that, the next film like American Hustle or Silver Linings to get all 4 acting categories and stuff. And it's like, Minari is really about the only one to do it this year, and it's like the only one for supporting actor would be the kid actor. See if I can find him. Alan Kim, yeah, who's mostly just been relegated to those, young actor performances and stuff. So, for nominations and stuff. So, yeah, I don't necessarily see him going all the way. If Jacob Tremblay couldn't get in, yeah. Sure, I've got Helena Zengel getting in this year, but it's like, it's a little bit of a different circumstance around that one. But, yeah. So, I don't know. I just feel like even then, it's like Andra Day, Zendaya, I mean, they could almost split enough votes to where somebody else gets in. And, again, Sophia Loren is an Oscar winner in the past. So sometimes for that 5th slot, they do go with somebody who's been nominated before. So, yeah, that one, I mean, I might wimp out and go somebody else at the end there, but, yeah, we'll have to see. Okay, so I've got the 5 that got in for, 5 of the 6 that got in for Critics' Choice here, nominated at the Oscars. That's Leslie Odom Jr., Sacha Baron Cohen, Daniel Kaluuya. All 3 of those, I think, are sure locks. Yeah, I don't see any Sherlocks. Sure bets. They're all Sherlocks. They're all going to run around with a pipe in their mouth, all that. Yeah, that'd be different versions of Sherlock, because 2 of them are African American actors, and one of them is the only one who almost could play it. Not say obviously Daniel Kaluuya is British, but Sacha Baron Cohen's like a white British guy. It's like Sherlock is almost always depicted in that way, unless you're like Robert Downey Jr. or whatever. But okay, enough of that tangent. Yeah, then Paul Raci, I still have getting in for Sound of Metal, even though I'm crossing my fingers. I hope he does get in, because that's really, I mean, in this category, from the performances I've seen this year, he's probably the one, again, having not seen Judas and the Black Messiah or One Night in Miami yet, he's the one that stands out to me. His performance was the one that kind of knocked me back a little bit and said, okay, this guy, he's good. I want to see him pop up in more stuff. I mean, I liked Mark Rylance quite a bit in Trial of Chicago 7, and Bill Murray I liked in On the Rocks. Yeah, a couple of the other guys from Trial of Chicago 7, including Sasha, they were all good, and everything, and they're definitely, worthy of nominations. But it's like, I don't know. I just think back. It's like that's the one that's standing out to me right now for my favorite in this category. But again, that's not seeing 2 of the arguable front runners in this category. And Chadwick is my 5th one, but again, number one, I don't think it's the best performance by any standard in this category. I mean, I wouldn't go as far to say, like, Jared Leto, who's been getting some other recognition like Globes and SAG. I wouldn't put him ahead of Chadwick, for example. But I would definitely say Bill Murray gives a better performance. Mark Rylance gives a better performance. Definitely Paul Raci gives a better performance. Sacha Baron Cohen gives a better performance. David Strathairn, it's close on that one. That one I would probably tie on that one. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, I think, gets a little bit more well, as far as memorable or stuff. It's like, yeah, again, that one's close, but I might put Yahya ahead. I don't know who else. Even Eddie Redmayne and like a couple of those other guys from Chicago 7. Jeremy Strong, definitely ahead of. I think he and Mark Rylance are my two favorites, just personally from that movie. Jeremy Strong, I think he maybe even edges out Rylance there. Yeah, even in the same movie, he hasn't been getting any recognition at all. Jonathan Majors, really good in that movie. And of course, he's on the short list for BAFTA too, but I'm trying to find his name here, see if he pops up. But Clark Peters, yeah. Again, another strong character actor who's been in a lot of stuff. He was, I think, probably the one, even above Jonathan, I would put in that movie for supporting actor. If anybody were to get in on my ballot, I would definitely put Clark Peters ahead, definitely. I don't know. Obviously, of course, if Chadwick does get in, it's a lot of it. I think in this case will be more off the sympathy of his passing. You could almost take away the fact that he has is no longer with us, and he could still win lead actor. If he was still alive today, I think he might still be a possible steamroll in Best Actor. But just because that's such a great performance. But yeah, I think if he was still with us, I don't think we'd even be giving it half a second's thought for this particular film and this particular performance. And I'm not meaning to take anything away from it or anything. It's just not one of those that stuck with me, and it's just not one that I necessarily would vote for. Anyways, but it's like I just feel like that's the way the wind is blowing, and I feel like I'd rather go for accuracy than go with what's in my heart, unless I feel there is a strong chance that it could happen. Like if I were legit saying, okay, Clark Peters, legit, you could get in, I would predict him, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Yeah, I think Bill Murray for On the Rocks. It's like, yeah, he got the Globe nomination, he got a SAG not a SAG, but a Critics' Choice nomination. But he's not on the list for BAFTA. The movie, is really not really center of mind for anybody. I don't think it's going to go. It could be a surprise nominee on Oscar morning, but it just doesn't seem like it has the staying power to get there. No. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, definitely a month ago this was the most fluid category, but I don't know. I feel like we've got 3 down for sure. The other 2 seem like strong bets. Chadwick did get both SAG and Critics' Choice, so maybe he's a little bit on higher ground than Paul Raci is. But, yeah, and Chadwick, I think, will be a nominee in both categories at BAFTA, so, yeah. So it's just if Paul Raci can also get in there for BAFTA as well. All right, here's Supporting Actress. Okay, so, yeah, so I again alluded to this. I have Amanda Seyfried out. I have her missing. Glenn Close I have out front just for now, on the idea that, she might not win Globe because she just won the Globe for The Wife. She might not win SAG because she just won that for The Wife. But she'll probably, or not probably, but at this point I think she's a little more likely to win BAFTA than some of her competitors here. She could win Critics' Choice, possibly for this. I mean, Hillbilly, it did also get the makeup nomination, if I remember correctly, at Critics' Choice, so it's not like it was the only nomination for it. She did tie with Lady Gaga, so it's like this could be a way for them to just award her, but it's like, it's going to be close. It's like that one, in that particular category, it's like it could be Yoo Jun-yeon, it could be Maria Bakalova, possibly could be Olivia Coleman, since she only won the actress in a comedy or whatever at that year's Critics' Choice, so they could try to just, give it to her there. But she's got The Crown, and it's like, I don't know, some of her co-stars, are going to fight it out at the Globes and SAG and stuff, so it's like, that one, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a mess, I think, for trying to figure that one out, for who's going to win some of these awards. But I can see Glenn, kind of flipping the script from last time, and it's like she kind of loses early, but then wins BAFTA and goes on to win the Oscars. If she kind of gets that late, even though it was in the air that night, I remember. It was just all through the last few weeks of that award after SAG, it's like it almost felt like that year. It's like Glenn is gonna win this. It's like she's got it, and she didn't win BAFTA, but everybody's like, oh, it's just a British thing. It's just because they want to go with Olivia Coleman there. And then we got to the Oscars, and it's like it's again my favorite performance of the 5 nominated that year was Olivia Coleman, but. But it's like, part of me felt bad that it wasn't Glenn Close getting up there and finally getting some recognition there for at least the win. I mean, obviously, she's been nominated how many goddamn times, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, so I think Glenn is in first, but I think, again, the spoiler, the one to watch out for is not Olivia Coleman, I think, but Yoo Jun-yun for Minari. I think she's definitely one, again, after seeing the film, it's at times, not to spoil anything, but it's at times a showy performance. It's a memorable performance. She's got a lot of laughs in the movie. Some great, even some very close, intimate scenes with the grandson and the granddaughter, where it's like, you feel the connection there. It feels like a real relationship there. So that's one I can see again. If it happens to win at like both Critics' Choice and SAG, then I think she might steamroll the rest of the category. So she's the spoiler. That being said, Olivia Coleman I have in third place. I think, again, I don't see her winning the Globe on Sunday. I don't see her winning at Critics' Choice necessarily. She could, but that one's going to be a toss-up, I think. SAG, I think, could just go Olivia Coleman, just because they didn't give it to her for The Favorite, and it's kind of playing makeup there. And then I don't know about, because BAFTA, again, they just gave it to her for The Favorite. So, anyways, so yeah, I think she'll consistently be nominated everywhere, like Glenn Close has been, but and so far Maria Bakalova. But, yeah, I don't know. And then, Maria, I think, is in fourth place. I think she'll win the comedy, as we've mentioned, the comedy musical actress Globe on Sunday, that category. I think she'll win. But after that, unless she upsets at Critics' Choice or something, I don't necessarily see her winning everything going forward. I don't think she'll win SAG. She might even miss the nomination at BAFTA, possibly. I think she's that fifth, sixth, one of those two slots there, like we talked about last time. And I think Helena Zengel, one argument I made early on in the year, it's like, look at this. Tom Hanks, other than The Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, it's like every time he's got a movie out where he's up for Oscar consideration, one of his co-stars get nominated, but not him. Barkat Abdi for Captain Phillips. Mark Rylance, who went on to win that category for Bridge of Spies. The Post, Meryl Streep, and all that stuff. So Helena almost feels like it's, one of those. So that's really the only one I can think of where he was like in the discussion was Sully. Nobody got nominated acting wise for that, but otherwise, it's like every time it's like something like that is happening. So, and it is it's a showy child performance type role there. So Globe and SAG didn't quite get Critics' Choice, but got a somewhat equivalent prize. So and I think News of the World will be popular enough at BAFTA, she'll still get in there. So. Yeah, I think she's in. That does leave out Ellen Burstyn. That leaves out Amanda Seyfried. And I think after that, Jodie Foster is about the only other one I'm thinking has a serious shot here. Anybody else would be that Marina de Tavira kind of out of nowhere nomination. So it's like I just keep looking. It's like. Mank alone will have a lot of support from the tech categories. Tons. When we get into the tech categories here today, Mank is going to be just about everywhere it can be. Gary Oldman, even if he's not, everybody's favorite from his politics and from his, statements on other award shows and stuff, it's like he's so well respected. He's going to get in for Best Actor. That would be a huge shock if he doesn't get nominated. Picture and director are certain to be at least nominated, if not, definitely. There's an angle, I think, still that David could win. He'd have to win DGA, but it's like I don't know, because I still think Chloe Zhao was too far out front for that one. But it's like I don't know. This is like just for me too. Seeing the film, it's like this is one aspect of it that I was kind of disappointed in. I didn't really see a strong performance here. She doesn't have the huge anger scene where she gets frustrated and yells at somebody like almost everybody else in this category that I've seen. I haven't seen The Father or the Borat sequel, but it's like Glenn Close has plenty of those scenes. Yoo Jun-yun gets enough emotional scenes, not yelling scenes, but definitely scenes where you show strong emotions there. Helena Zengel gets a couple of crying scenes in her film and a couple scenes where she's yelling at people, and stuff, or acting like a wild child type deal. So it's like, yeah, I think there's enough, with those other performances, but it's like hers, it's like she gets, as I've mentioned, one thing Mark Rylance mentioned in his acceptance speech, would it help his, repeated line? It's like sometimes that sticks with people, and nerds, that's the repeated line in Mank. It's like that might stick with people. It's possible. I don't know. So yeah, it's we'll have to see there, because that one, I think it's I have it out, but it's like I can see myself missing that one. Anyways, so I don't know, and she missed at SAG, so that was a big critical misstep there. So I think with 6 slots, she's almost certain to get in at BAFTA. If she misses BAFTA, we know it's going to have to be one of those like Sylvester Stallone type deals there, or Regina King more recently there. Now Regina went on to win. Sylvester was upset by Mark Rylance, but yeah, we'll have to. I don't know. That's one. I don't know. Even if she misses BAFTA, I probably still won't put her in, but still some time for that one too. If I want to bump out somebody, if all of a sudden, if again Maria, if she is a Jennifer Lopez type deal where she just gets everything, and then at the end of the day they just didn't want to bother with the movie or whatever, then yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Okay, for screenplay, I'm sticking with my 5 here. Trial of Chicago 7 out front. Minari in second place, then Promising Young Woman, Mank, and Five Bloods. But it's like there's 3 scripts, possibly another one that I'm really looking at here as an upset for that 5th slot. Soul, we did see Inside Out get in a few years ago, so Soul, will be, I think, one of the more nominated Pixar films since then, if it gets in for score as well. And then possibly for sound, too. So it could be definitely one to watch out for. Sound of Metal, is one to watch out for. Judas and the Black Messiah was a WGA nominee. Actually, did Sound of Metal get in, too? I cannot, for the life of me, remember who those 5 were. Okay, no, not that one. Son of a bitch. That one. Here, let me look. Let me look again here for that original category. Since, Minari and a couple of those were not eligible there. No, Sound of Metal was in. Okay, the 5 were Judas and the Black Messiah, Palm Springs, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, Trial of Chicago 7. Yeah, the Five Bloods. I can't remember. That one was not eligible, I believe. But Mank was not eligible either. So it's like, yeah, there were definitely some that missed there. And again, Judas and the Black Messiah, I can see making a comeback, in this category. A BAFTA nomination would definitely help it as well. If it does pretty well at BAFTA, then, it's one to watch out for. Could be that, kind of straight out of Compton one where it's like, just kind of, surprises us there. But, even then, I don't know. Straight out of Compton kind of had a rocky road that year, too. It's like it got a SAG Ensemble nomination, and then, yeah, just kind of, got into WGA, and then got a kind of more or less surprise nomination at the for the screenplay nomination there. But I don't know. Yeah, so that one, yeah, it's like at 5th slot. If it's not Spike Lee into Five Bloods, it could be any one of those 3, or even, I don't know. I don't really see any of those other 4 missing, though. It's like Chicago 7 should be solid. Now, of course, Aaron Sorkin, other than Molly's Game, the last time he had a type, sure bet type screenplay with Steve Jobs, that one missed. But yeah, Minari feels very safe. Promising Young Woman should not miss, and Mank should get in there. So yeah. So that one, yeah, it gets kind of tricky with some of these. Adapted screenplay, same 5, and I think this will be the easier of the 2 to get, correct here. I've put The Father out front for now. One Night in Miami in 2nd place, Nomadland in 3rd, Ma Rainey's in 4th, and News of the World in 5th. And yeah, anything else here is going to be a pretty big upset. The Borat sequel and The White Tiger were in at WGA, but that's again with Nomadland out and with The Father out. So easily those 2 could just fill in there. Because the other 3, Ma Rainey's, One Night in Miami, and News of the World all got in. So yeah, it could just be that, but definitely I think something, if Maria Bakalova, if they are watching the movie, enough voters, then the writers branch might like Borat enough. Obviously, as we've mentioned several times, the first film was an adapted screenplay nominee that year, so it would definitely help to show the strength of the film there if both get in. But I don't know. For now, I'm just going to stick with just Maria getting in. Okay, so let's move to animated feature. We'll do that one next. So this one, I think Soul is still out front. Wolfwalkers, Onward, Over the Moon, The Willoughbys, yeah, those 5. I did have my niece came home this weekend, so we watched a little bit of the Shaun the Sheep movie Farmageddon, which is on Netflix. And it's an Aardman one, so it's tempting. It's tempting to put that one in instead of something like Onward. Maybe is the one that misses here. If they're already going to take care of Pixar with Soul, I can see them missing Onward. Even though, retrospectively, when it came out, that was right just about COVID. Shutting everything down was just 2 weeks away. Most people were not going to the theaters in fear of COVID, so it's like, for what it opened to and stuff, it did relatively well. So it's it's got that in its back pocket. Obviously, everything else is a little bit more of a struggle since we didn't have theaters open. It's one I'm considering there. But it's I would have to figure out, okay, am I either going to bump Onward or something else? And it's Onward almost feels like if any of them are going to go, it's that one. I've got it in third, but it's again, I can probably maybe more make an argument for that one being in fourth or fifth place instead. But I'll consider it. Now, BAFTA last year put in Shaun the Sheep movie because that qualified for last year's. It released over there before it got over here. So we know that one's not going to pop up at BAFTA. And Onward is also not going to be there at BAFTA. We don't think. Jesus, I can't remember now. Well, it's on the list, I think, but everybody just thinks Soul, right? Yeah. I think that one's. I don't see BAFTA going 2 out of the 3 slots for Pixar movies. I don't think they would do that. Could. You can't say it's impossible. Onward is on the long list. There, or short list, really. It should be this one because it's only 6, and they're going to nominate 3. So. Yeah, so that one, I might make that change a little later on. Okay, so for the doc feature category, I have Crip Camp Out Front here early, but one thing I didn't know, this is the same, I don't know if it's right, company or whatever, the Obamas have. And Obama's just won last year for American Factory. So I just have it as just the early front runner for now, but it's I'll probably change that because... the documentary branch, I don't see them... They might not even nominate it. Could be, since they just gave it to him last year. I didn't realize that. I had it out early just for that reason, just because it's one everybody talked about. But I don't see the documentary branch being that kind of, even though it is Obama's, it's, liberal Hollywood, so they love everything with that administration. I don't know if they would go out of their way to give this one another win. It could... I think it'll still be nominated at least, but... for another win, that might be tough. Dick Johnson is Dead in second place, Collective in third. And then kind of a last-minute switch here. I put in All In, The Fight for Democracy, and Time, so I don't have the MLK FBI one, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of Gold Derby voters are not confident in that one. Even though it is one of the higher-ups on Rotten Tomatoes, the director's been doing a lot of interviews lately, and especially with it being Black History Month, that's been definitely getting a lot of views. And a couple other ones to consider here. You've got Welcome to Chechnya, which also has a shortlist nomination down for visual effects. So for a documentary for visual effects, that's something I didn't even talk about hardly at all. So it's I don't know. Maybe if enough voters there like it enough, and they kind of talk to their friends in the visual effects branch, that could be a visual effects nominee. We saw that many years ago now, over 25 years ago with Hoop Dreams. It's that didn't even make it on the documentary list. But the editors saw the film because it got in for film editing. It's that was weird. But there's still a couple other ones here, like The Truffle Hunters, My Octopus Teacher, which is both of those are on the BAFTA short list or long list, whatever. So it's I don't know. It's there could be a lot of surprises here. And I've kind of, by the way, I don't have time to go into it all today because it's still something I'm working on. But I've kind of gone through. The last 5 years, is it 5 years or is it 6 years now? I can't remember where I'm up to. It's through Spotlight that year. I've kind of gone through and I've said, okay, I've kind of cross-verified and cross-examined all the different award shows. And it's okay, who was nominated at Oscars but didn't get nominated blank? Here. I'm not... I'll probably go back because I haven't done it intricately enough to where it's okay, who got nominated at Globes, SAG, BAFTA, but not at Oscars? I haven't done that yet with this list, but it's just starting with... who's where and who's missing where, just to do that. And I've been noticing here for the, definitely for the documentary category, doc feature, that is, there's been a lot of times where the Oscars will put in, not random, but it's documentaries that don't get in anywhere else. Don't get in at DGA, don't get in at PGA, don't get nominated at BAFTA. There's several in the last few years that have gotten in just at Oscars and missed everywhere else. So yeah, so I'll try to keep more of an eye on that this year. That's something definitely that I've been that I picked up notice on. Now, like the international feature category, I've also noticed some of that does happen, but it's like a lot of that compares on. Okay, which one of these films, like Portrait of a Lady on Fire, was from France or whatever last year, and they had Les Mis, so it's like that wasn't, you couldn't put two films in at the Oscars, so that one happened to be nominated almost everywhere. Well, both were, technically, but Portrait of a Lady on Fire especially was like at Globes and Critics' Choice and stuff, and it wasn't eligible at the Oscars and stuff. So, there's definitely some cases there. So that one, you can explain away, but yeah, the doc feature category, when you look at all that stuff for who gets in where and all that, it's like, there's a lot of those. It's kind of head scratchers. Like, okay, how could this one get in everywhere and miss? Like Jane and Won't You Be My Neighbor and Apollo, was it Apollo 11 last year? Yeah, it's like all those docs were all missing. Straight, 3 years in a row, arguably the front runner missed every time. You can go back, another one, Life Itself and a few of those other docs, Hoop Dreams and all that. It's like they all miss. It's like, it's really weird. So I don't know. Again, maybe being the front runner is not the best thing. So stuff like Time is leading the polls right now. Or Collective is also one that's up. There's like, it might be bad luck, you might miss. But again, Collective, it might pull Honeyland from last year, where it's in for international film and for documentary. So, yeah, we'll have to see. And more of those crossed over this year. Because you've got, like I mentioned, Collective, you've got La Lorna, you've got, or wait, La Lorna, no, wait, I'm thinking of something else. No, because that's not in for doc. Is it? No, it's not. Okay. No, I was thinking of, what the hell, man? What was the one? It was international feature and something else, but it's like, okay, none of these are here now. Okay. That is the weirdest thing. I swear to God, it was like more than that. Or no, it's like the songs, it's categories. That's what I'm thinking of. It's stuff like that. Yeah. Some of those have crossed over. And yeah, Welcome to Chechnya and Effects. It's like that one crossed over. So it's like, that's what I'm more thinking of. Okay, not international and documentary, no. So I think the only one then actually is, as we mentioned, Collective. But anyways, as far as the international category goes, I think another round seems like the front runner here. Covidia Dia, second place. Two of Us in third place. Collective in fourth. And Dear Comrades, I have getting in there in fifth place. La Lorna is one that popped up at... it's on the short list for BAFTA, long list, whatever. It's on, I believe it was a Critics' Choice or a Globe nominee, one or two of them or something. Let's see, The Mole Agent, that's one that crossed over. Okay, now I'm starting to see him. But that one I don't have in for either. Night of the Kings is one that's gotten some early buzz, so that one I think is still in there. But the rest of them, I think, if any of them get in, it will be kind of a surprise. So, yeah. That's that one. So yeah, I think for the first time in a couple of years, we'll have an international film category that's a little more competitive than we've seen in recent years. All right, let's go to cinematography next to start the techs off. And yeah, I've been saying all along, almost, well, since I saw the film at least, Mank is going to be like Irishman, where it only wins, or it gets nominated ever, but it wins nothing. For now, I'm going to put Mank ahead to win cinematography. I think Nomadland is in second place. The Five Bloods is in there, I think, in third place. Tenet in fourth and Minari in fifth. And that's leaving out a couple. Sean Babbitt is the cinematographer for Judas and the Black Messiah. He's overdue. Not nominated for either Widows or for 12 Years a Slave. Cinematography for News of the World is one that could easily get in. Ma Rainey's could fit in here. Midnight Sky could be one that gets in. Another black and white one is Malcolm and Marie. Which Mank, fits into that one. Pieces of a Woman is one I'd love to see get in, but it's probably not going to. But yeah. So I think that's that category there. Editing category will go next here. Trial of Chicago 7 I've decided to put out front here. Now that's my picture, screenplay, and editing winner. It's like, well, that's what Argo did, so it could very well end up that way. Sasha could go along for the ride for supporting actor. I mean, it's possible, but yeah, I think at least those three are an easy bet if you're going with that one to win right now. Again, Nomadland in second place, Mank in third. I did pull out The Father here. I had that one in, so now I have Sound of Metal and Minari as the fourth and fifth place spots there. But again, yeah, The Father is one that could get in. News of the World is, again, it's like that sixth, almost like fifth, sixth, or seventh place. It's in that range, like it is in many other categories too. Tenet is one I can see. It did get in for editing at Critics' Choice. It's on the list for BAFTA. Promising Young Woman, if that one, I'm starting to think possibly in this category, it could be like, remember Hell or High Water was one. It got in for screenplay, acting, picture, and I got that fourth nomination for editing. So right now I have the same thing happening there. Picture, actress, screenplay, and then if it gets a fourth one for Promising Young Woman, it could be editing. Yeah, could be kind of surprising us there. Otherwise, To Five Bloods, again, if that one goes over really well, I can see that one getting in. One Night in Miami, possibly. Ma Rainey's, I think, is in contention, but lesser so. Yeah, I think after that, it's a little bit of a stretch there. Yeah. So definitely some to consider there. Let's see, going to, let's do the design categories next. Costume design. Ma Rainey's, I think, is the front runner here. Mank in second place, Emma in third, Mulan in fourth, and United States vs. Billie Holiday in there. The Western costumes for News of the World is one that could easily get in. The Revenant could even get into this category, so it's like it's possible. Ammonite, I wouldn't say is impossible. That's one that could possibly bounce back, but it's like, again, that would be like one where it's just costumes, Personal History of David Copperfield's another period piece to watch out for. Child of Chicago 7, possibly. Even One Night in Miami, I would say, has a little bit of a shot here. Let's see, for the production design category. Again, Ma Rainey's is my early front runner here, but it's like, Mank could get the front runner slot there, I think. I might probably switch that here in the next coming days. Let's see, otherwise, News of the World is probably, this is one I can see it more definitely getting into. Then Mulan and Emma fill out the category here, but Midnight Sky is one to watch out for. Tenet got I believe it was Critics' Choice in for production design. It was one of those. I know it's on the BAFTA long list for that category, too. Possibly, again, One Night in Miami or Child of Chicago 7. Maybe United States vs. Billie Holiday. Yeah. So, that's that one. Going over to the music category score, I have Soul ahead for that one. I have Mank in second place, but it's like, I'm still thinking they could get hurt a little bit by that. The double nod coming for Ross and Reznor. And then you have The Midnight Sky. I think that one's your sure bet to get in. News of the World seems very safe. And then Minari is my fifth place one, so I did pull Tenet out. That one is still possible. You can never discount totally Thomas Newman, though he did not get in for Victoria and Abdul. That's about the only place I think he's been possibly up for an Oscar, and he didn't get nominated. He got in for Passengers, for Christ's sakes. Let's see, otherwise, you've got a couple other scores on the short list here, like Child of Chicago 7. Could bounce back again if it does super well Oscar morning. To Five Bloods, that is Terrence Blanchard, a previous nominee for another Spike Lee project. And then Ammonite is one I would again say is maybe coming close to a nomination there. Okay, for song, I think Speak Now, One Night in Miami is the front runner here. Then you can always go to like Turntables is one I have in second place for All In Fight for Democracy. Though Till It Happens to You, the song from The Hunting Ground, that was, everybody thought that one would win. So it's like those documentary songs. It's again, it's like it was almost every year. It's like we were getting one of them in, but it's like they don't usually win. So I think it's second place at best there. Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah seems like a sure thing. Scene, the song, the Diane Warren song from Life Ahead should get in. So it's really that fifth slot. And for now, I'm going to say Minari for Rain Song. Previously, I did have Wuhan Flu in here for Borat, but yeah, I don't know. I think since it is going to be a liberal Academy voting, they might get even though Borat is kind of meant to be offensive, they still might not feel comfortable putting that one down. It's possible. Let's see. Otherwise, the Eurovision song, the Will Ferrell one, whatever that movie is, that one did get, I believe, Critics' Choice a nomination. Hear My Voice from Child of Chicago 7. Again, if that one does, again, surprise, maybe not surprises, but does better than expected Oscar morning, that one might come in. Let's see here. Anything else? Mulan has a song in there, and then the one and only Ivan also has a song, but I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like the Disney songs, sometimes they're more sure bets, but I don't know about this time. Okay, let's move on to the sound category next. Sound and metal, I think, is the early front runner here. And the use of sound and stuff in the movie, yeah, I think it could easily be the front runner and just win everything. Mank is in second place, Tenet in third, Midnight Sky in fourth, and then I have Ma Rainey's in fifth. Again, another one that seems like a no-brainer here, but I think could miss is News of the World. Soul could be the first Pixar film in a while to get in for a sound nomination, since it is only one category. Makes it a little tougher, though. Trial of Chicago 7 could be a surprise sound nominee. We've seen, like Roma got in for sound, Birdman got in for sound, so some of those expected front-runner kind of, movies there. Even though Birdman, when it got nominated, it wasn't really looked at as the front-runner, but went on to become the front-runner. Let's see, To Five Bloods is one I wouldn't say is impossible. United States versus Billie Holiday, if it was just sound mixing, I think would be a much bigger threat. And even then, we've got another kind of musical movie with Ma Rainey's also, posing a bigger threat there. So, yeah, it's that one. For makeup and hairstyling, Ma Rainey's I think is going to be the front runner here. But Mank and Hillbilly Elegy are definitely going to give it a run for its money. I think those three could kind of. I mean, I wouldn't say they all split, and it's like one wins here, one wins here, because again, makeup in the several years has kind of been an easy one. It's like, okay, last year, Bombshell, done. A couple years earlier, Darkest Hour, done. Suicide Squad was a kind of an upset winner there. Like Dallas Buyers Club seemed like an easy bet that year, and it's like, yeah, some of these are easy bets, but this one, I mean, it seems like Ma Rainey's would be the easy bet, but it's like, I don't know, Mank and Hillbilly Elegy both have, plenty of makeup in them to possibly, upset that. And then, I've missed way too many of these stupid, like, Border and Man Who Fell Out of a Window, whatever that stupid movie was. I've missed too many of those, so I'm going to put in the one that sounds, the weirdest one, so that's The Glorias. I have that one in, and then Birds of Prey in there for fifth. I think a lot of people either have it down to Pinocchio, which I have getting in a BAFTA, or Emma for that fourth or fifth slot, if it's not Birds of Prey or not The Glorias, or if it's just, the other three we mentioned, then it's those two. I also would say, just because it's there, that Jingle Jangle one, it's like, just because it's there, again, kind of like we mentioned with Bo Burnham the other day at BAFTA, it's like, it sounds so weird, so maybe they like it, kind of deal. It's not one of those, it's one of those head scratchers that it's like, maybe it's a head scratcher because it's going to be a big one. I don't know. That one I would say is also possible there. For the effects category, I think I've got almost the ones that I think almost everybody else has, maybe with one exception. Tenet out front, then Midnight Sky, Mank, Mulan, and then the fifth one is the one and only Ivan. So I don't have that Chechnya one, even though that's shortlisted for documentary as well. Birds of Prey, possible. I mean, money-wise, it didn't do nearly the business that Suicide Squad did, and that only ended up with the makeup nomination. It wasn't a nominee for like sound or visual effects or anything else that year. But I don't know. But Birds of Prey was better reviewed than Suicide Squad. That's for damn sure. I haven't seen that one, so I can't judge it for myself. But I just said that first Suicide Squad movie was Batman and Robin level bad for me. Hated it. But Soul, I don't know. It's like, again, it doesn't seem like that, Kubo and the two strings where it's more, that style of animation. This is just, 3D animation, Pixar style. It's like, I don't know how it even got on here, and stuff like Greyhound and Invisible Man and Wonder Woman, a couple of those other ones. I don't know how they, how that one gets in, those others don't. But yeah, we'll have to see what they were up to with that. We'll figure it out on Oscar morning why they chose the ones they did. But yeah. All right, then that just leaves those stupid, pesky short categories. Now, starting with the animated short category, I didn't realize that if anything happens to you, I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen part of it because that's on Netflix. And it's kind of has to do, I believe, if I remember right, with like school shooting. Like, it ends in a school shooting. I mean, I guess spoilers for a short film that probably enough people have seen already, but it's like, I don't know. Yeah, so it's like, okay, it's like, we did have a couple years ago, DeKalb Elementary, I believe, also dealt with a similar subject. That didn't even, and everybody thought that was going to win, and it was upset by something else that year. I think that was it was doc short or live action short. It wasn't animated, but so I mean, yeah, it seems like a natural choice. Like, oh, it has to do with school shooting. It's, something heart tugging like that. Of course, they'll give it to it. But anyway, so I have that one out front for now. Then Kapamahu, I think is that's the second place one. Opera in third, to Gerard in fourth, and Traces in fifth. again, part of me just says, go with the ones that sound like the best titles, So that's kind of why I was kind of going with some of those. Now, like, just from the pictures I'm seeing here, Out looks like it has to do with a dog. So it's like, again, some of those dog ones, like the one that was in front of Big Hero 6, that one won. I can't. It was like Eat or Food or something, whatever the title of that one was. That one won. That was all about dogs and stuff. Snail and the Whale, that has to do with animals, so possibly. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's. I could switch a couple of these around. We'll have to see, but I don't know. Again, I just go with the ones that sound like the most appeasing titles. For Doc Short, I've got Abortion Helpline. This is Lisa Out Front. I don't know. It just kind of seems like one that sticks out to me there. Some people have put it in. I've seen some people are kind of mixed on that one's chances. Otherwise, we have Colette, I have in second place, a Love Song for Latasha in third, Hunger Ward in fifth, and Hysterical Girl in fifth. Yeah, I think a couple other ones that are kind of standing out to me here. That one that's, What Would Sophia Loren Do? That'd be kind of tempting to see that one nominated in this category and then see her actually nominated the same year. And actually, if I'm looking correctly, I believe that one is also on Netflix. So that could get a bump there, possibly. Call Center Blues kind of has that, title amongst it, so that could be one. The Speed Cubers, which I can't remember if I even joked about this last time. It sounds like somebody who's really fast at like a Rubik's Cube or something. It kind of almost looks like that's what it's about. I'm gonna see if they have any info on it. Oh no, I can't. All right, fine. I'll just Google it. I don't care. Speed Cubers. It's a Netflix one. Oh, I didn't know that. It is Rubik's Cube. Haha, I was right. Okay. I don't know. I mean, it's not, like the NEFTA Football Club, I think, was the one I picked last year. I don't know if it was this or the live action short category last year. It's like, obviously, that's kind of competition-wise. If this one looks like competition, it's like, yeah, it might get nominated. I don't know if it would win, but it's, that one I would say maybe I might put in later. Okay, then for live action short, last category, it looks like The Letter Room is the favorite here, and I looked at it, it's like, it's got like a couple stars in it. It looks like, oh shit, what's his name? I'm going to look this one up too to see if anybody else is in it, but it's, oh my god, Oscar Isaac, good lord, how could I not remember his name? Yeah, he's in it. Let's see here, is there any other recognizable name? Because there was one that won here a few years ago, had some stars, and it had like Martin Freeman and a couple other people in it. It had some kind of bigger stars in it, but Eileen Galindo, her name sounds familiar. What would I have seen her in? Okay, if my internet would work. Her name sounds familiar. Is there anything that's... No, okay. No. Nope, thinking of somebody else or something. Okay. I just put that one up front because, again, it has some stars in it. The Human Voice in second, Feeling Through in third, Kicksled Choir in fourth, and The Present in fifth. Let's see, any of these other ones, like Two Distant Strangers sounds interesting, so that one, again, kind of has a title like that, so it's like, I could maybe put that one in. And B2 is another one some people are talking about. Yeah, anyways, I always struggle with these. If I get 2 or I get 3, if I get 3, I'm really happy. If I get 4, I'm ecstatic. But I don't know if I've ever gotten anything 5 for 5 on these shorts categories. And it's like, I don't know. It's like I've heard from a lot of people too. It's like a lot of, because I think most people who vote for, or not even who vote for these, but who do the Oscar predicting and stuff, it's like most of them don't even see the shorts at all. Not the ones that were shortlisted, not the ones that are even nominated. They just don't bother with them. And that's, yeah, if I haven't seen them in front of a movie or something, or if they're not on Netflix or something, then I don't catch them myself. But I always say, this year is going to be the year I'm going to finally see those short films and stuff. And it's like, I don't know. It's like I've heard from a lot of people that watch them, and they're like, dude, they're like, as soon as I started watching them, I kept getting them more and more wrong. Like I was getting them halfway decent when I just was going off the list and just picking them at random or whatever. But it's like when I was watching them, it's like I fell in love with these certain ones, and none of them would get nominated. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I would get hit with that curse. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I think we've seen I've heard of some tales. Some people, it's like once they see the ones that are nominated, it's like sometimes then they see them and it's like then we see the race kind of turn around. And it's like, oh, everybody who saw it loved this one, and then that one ends up winning. Not always, but anyway, I remember the year the Heaven is a Traffic Jam on 405 one. I remember a lot of people, they liked another one in that category. I definitely did not predict 405 to win, but it was like whichever one that was projected to win or that everybody liked, it's like everybody saw it and they loved it, and they expected it to win there, but it didn't. And it's like the explanation almost could have been, well, it had 405 in the title, so they just picked it. So that kind of goes with my rule of, go with the best titles and kind of go from there. All right, well, did we learn anything today? I don't know. Did I even get into... Yeah, I don't think I even got into... I just named the 10 that I have for Best Picture, but I think if any of those miss and something else gets in, I think Sound of Metal is one I would watch out for. That, since I have it in for editing, it's possible for screenplay. Could get 2 acting prizes easily almost then. If it gets all of those, could get in for picture as well, and sound too, so it could be a 6 nominee film. And it does have quite a few of those, stuff at BAFTA, like it's on the list for film, it's on the list for the 2 acting performances we expect, on there for screenplay and stuff. So it's like, yeah, watch out for that one, maybe to do a little better than expected at BAFTA all of a sudden. I don't know if it can make the list for film, but that would be a huge, huge plus for that film, definitely. Soul is feeling like, even though I really like it, I don't. It feels like it's getting further and further away from that happening. Even if it could, end up with 3 other nominations. Yeah, I don't necessarily seeing it going all the way for picture, but yeah, I think most everything else is turning into more and more of a long shot at this point. But yeah, okay, yeah, I don't think I went over everything with that category. So okay. So I think still figuring out what my schedule is for the rest of this week. I'm not sure yet if I will get to Globe final predictions for winners. I don't know if I'll get to that on Saturday. It might just be day of. I might just go on early that day and just say, okay, here's my things. But I know for sure since we last talked, like I said, I think this year, just briefly getting into it, it's going to be primed for upsets. I think there's definitely going to be some categories we're all just going to pick one thing and it's something else. Now, I think the 2, like, just for example here, like the 2 acting categories for drama seem like it's Carey Mulligan, Chadwick Boseman. Seems like it. Again, Anthony Hopkins being the one to upset there. Chicago 7 seems like the front runner for picture. The comedy categories almost feel like they might just universally go with Borat. Yeah, I don't even know who I would pick in an upset in some of those categories, because like some of them, it's like they're kind of crossing each other out. Amanda Seyfried is, I think, the front runner for Mank for supporting actress, but it's like, I don't know, they could go Jodie Foster there. I mean, I don't know, because it's like Olivia and Glenn, they've awarded a lot in the past, so I don't see them necessarily returning to those 2, unless they, again, like a couple of years ago, they just think Glenn is going to win everything, so let's just give it to Glenn, and then we'll look good, Supporting actor, I mean, if they just go with One Night in Miami just for song, kind of like a Star is Born or whatever, they could go Daniel Kaluuya there, or possibly Sacha Baron Cohen to get Trial of Chicago 7 something else. And I looked at, I think Chloe Zhao is director, but I think the screenplay is one I'm going to change. I'm floating between Promising Young Woman and The Father for that one. I'll probably end up picking Promising Young Woman, though. Yeah, I think Aaron Sorkin has won already for not just Social Network, but he also won for Steve Jobs, and I believe there was one other win on there. Didn't we look this? I think it's actually no, just those 2. Just those 2. I was thinking of something else. No, unless he won for Moneyball. Him and a couple other writers there. I feel like I've already looked this up once. I just, like anything else, it just goes right through. Just those 2, right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. I was thinking, yeah, Moneyball won at like Critics' Choice or something. Because I remember I picked that one to win. That was like one of the few top categories I got wrong that year. Descendants won that one, and then I did get Best Actor wrong. I picked George Clooney, but that one didn't pan out. So otherwise it's like the animated feature seems like it's Soul, foreign language. That's one could be primed for upset too if they just did not like Minari, because they didn't give it anything else other than foreign language film. It's possible. Score seems like Soul, yeah, and then song I think will be a little bit maybe easier. So some of them, yeah, there's definitely that second or possibly even third place contender could shock us. So it's like I'll look at it again. I'll solidify everything. I'll figure it out. But yeah. Oh shit, I forgot. Right before we end here, part of the whole reason why I wanted to come back to this is I've got the totals here. Okay, that's a super long video, guys. Forgive me, but again, a lot to cover here. Let's quickly go down. Okay, the several films that I have down for multiple nominations. I think I said 21, but 8, 9, 10, 22 is what I have. Okay. So if you count everything up, Mank I have getting 12. Okay, yeah, we've been here long enough. I'll just say the number. I won't go through which ones again. I have them all written down. But Ma Rainey's I have getting the second most nominations at 8. Minari right behind at 7, but again, that one could easily be 8. And even then, Mank, if it does get supporting actress, then that would get 13. So that's got some room to wiggle there. And then I've got Nomadland with 6, and then several with 5. I've got Trial Chicago 7 with 5, One Night in Miami with 5, To Five Bloods with 5, and News of the World with 5. Let's see, a couple of them got 4. The Father and Sound of Metal I have all getting 4. 3 nominations I have Promising Young Woman, Tenet, Mulan, not Milan, auto-corrected, and Midnight Sky. And the rest of them all have 2, and that's The Life Ahead, Hillbilly Elegy, Judas and the Black Messiah, Emma, Soul, All In, The Fight for Democracy, and Collective. I have all getting 2. So, again, we kind of looked up the last couple of years. It's like, it's been in the teens. It hasn't been 20, but it's a COVID year, so that might end up being right. But, of course, I'm going to switch a lot of other stuff in between. So, all right. Man, I put the lamp a little too far away this time, so I'm sorry if this video was a little bit darker until the literal last seconds here. But okay, so, yes, I will be back sometime later this week, possibly tomorrow or Friday. We'll have to see. If not, day of. Saturday I'm probably going to be booked, so... college basketball. I've got so much to watch there. Yeah, Saturdays are always the busiest days for those. So I will, for sure, before the award ceremony on Sunday, I'll get my final predictions out. And then, again, no live reaction to the ceremony or anything, but I'll be right back probably as soon as the award show is wrapped up. And I'll be here to talk about, again, unless I have something early Monday, but I don't think I do, for March 1st. I don't think so. So yeah, so I will definitely be there post Globes as well. So a couple videos for sure coming up once the Golden Globes wrap up.